Hello, everybody. I'm Joanna Weinberg, and I have the incredible privilege and pleasure of being here talking to two icons of South African film and theatre, two magnificent actors that, in fact, I haven't seen for a long time, and it feels very exciting and very emotional as well. As an actor who's left South Africa, just so exciting to have the opportunity to chat with these two incredible actors. So we're here today on behalf of the South African Film Festival in Sydney on this occasion to discuss a beautiful, heartwarming family film called Hans Steek die Rubicon oor. And I've got two stars of the film here. We're going to talk all about their roles that they play. They're quite delightful. They don't really need any introduction to a South African audience, certainly, but I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves. Tobie.
Hi, my name is Tobie Cronje, and I've been in the industry for, I think, 52 years, which is, you can see. It was Hans for me. Joanna, do you want me to say something about Hans? I'll give Sandra a chance to introduce herself.
Let's do that. And then I definitely want you to talk about him and about your own role too. Let's just say hello to Sandra.
Hello, Joanna. I must say it's lovely to see you again. I haven't seen you for so long. It's wonderful. I'm Sandra Prinsloo. I'm an actress. I do a lot of stage work and have recently started going back into television and film as well, which has been exciting. And I think that's about enough.
It's lovely to see the both of you again. So I understand that I've seen the film and I absolutely loved it. What I adored about the film was how it treads very delicately between comedy and Aina. There's a lot of pain in the film. It's about somebody his daughter is trying to push him into an old age home, and he just wants a lot more agency in his life. He wants freedom. He wants to be taken as a real person, a real man. And Sandra and Tobie and also June, who's not with us here today, formed this incredible sort of comic gang. And they support the main character in all the wonderful, hilarious journeys that he takes. Do you, as I say, it's a comic film, but at its core, it's also got an enormous amount of hearts. Tobie, did you feel when you were making it that you were making a comedy?
Yeah, it is. I think the parameters are a bit confused. I must tell you how I got into the whole thing.
Please.
I was asked by RSG, Radio Sonder Grense, to read the books that Rudy van Rensburg had written about older people. And it was very popular, and I think I read four of those books. And then they decided to make a movie about the first one. And the director thought I should play Hans. And I said to him, when you read on the radio, people don't see you, and you can pretend to be something else. But I said, I'm tall and skinny. He's not. He was a rugby player.
Okay.
In his youth. And I just didn't feel like I was right for it. And I suggested Pierre van Pletsen. And Pierre was excellent in this. I'm very proud of him. He won an award for performing this part. And then the director said, what are you going to play then? I said, I'd like to play Farsi. So that's how I got to be Farsi. Farsi's much more comedic than Hans. Hans is basically the straight guy with a fairly old accent and an old way of speaking Afrikaans. Farsi is much more, he speaks a lot of English in between, and he's basically the clown of the story. So that's where I found myself. But then the director also inserted much more serious stuff, which was lovely. I thought it was really great. The scene between Sandra and Hans was on the veranda. Do you remember, Sandy? It was really moving, very beautiful. Where she tries to make a pass at him, basically, and he says, "No, thank you." It's very, very sweet, heartwarming.
Thank you. I actually hadn't realized that it was based on a series of books. Sandra, did you feel the same? Did you feel like you were making a comic film? I'll just quickly tell them a little bit about how one of the things I loved the most about your character was that she's tech savvy. Because so often young people see anybody over 50 holding a phone, they treat people, they have that awful tone that the film captures so well, that patronizing, talking down tone that is so good in the film. And your character knows what she's doing. She knows her way around social media. And I just loved that she had that power and that agency. Did you feel that you were making a comedy, or again, did you feel that it was a little bit of both?
Yes, I think I definitely felt it was a little bit of both. I mean, there are moments and scenes in the film that are comedic, and you can't get away from it. It's funny, and one has to play it for what it is. But I agree with Tobie, or with you, as you said, it's also quite sad at its heart, because I've done a one-woman show about an old lady who gets forgotten, as it were, by her children. And in that time, I visited a lot of old age homes. And I was always struck about how older people are often to sideline. They don't have any value in society anymore, like they used to be. And that always, for me, has been a very important issue to address. And in this film, in a comedic style, but still, as you say, a heartwarming, central message that old people are not valueless. They are not without ambition, without hopes, without love, without, whatever. And that attracted me a lot to do the film. And then my character, I loved her because she was a stripper. I said, what do you do when you've been a stripper and you become old and you can no longer strip? So that's a very interesting dichotomy. What kind of person do you become? And I think she wanted to be a lady, which is the opposite of what you might have been regarded as in the 70s and the 80s, being a stripper. So that for me was an interesting thing to play with.
I loved your costumes. I wondered if you had any hand in finding. They look to me like things that you'd pick out from an op shop, from a secondhand shop, but just a little bit of glitz and glamour.
Yes, I think we spoke about that, about bringing the sort of glitz and glamour through from the old days, that she's quite decent and she's quite ladylike, but there's still a slightly underlying thing of, yes, being a showgirl in a way. So that was tremendously. It was fun, For me, the film was an enormous amount of fun. It was fun to play around with all the elements, the clothing, with her background. Yeah, so this is, and I think Pia did a wonderful job as Hans, and Tobie equally wonderful, because Tobie, aren't you reading one of the books now as well on stage?
Yes,
One
you're
of the
right.
Hans.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's
And I believe
I
you're
find it a bit
wonderful.
boring.
You
That's
find it
very kind
boring.
of you. Thank you. I find it quite boring that people can sit and watch somebody read a story.
There's nothing
Why not?
boring about you. There's nothing boring about you, honestly.
No, no. Tobie, you couldn't be
Yeah.
boring if you tried. So
So they're
That's
written in
very true.
Afrikaans. The stories are written in Afrikaans.
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Have they been translated at all, to your knowledge, Tobie?
No, not yet.
Okay.
They probably will be, because they've been very, very popular. So somebody's going to try and make more money out of it by translating them, I think.
Was it actually filmed in an aged care facility, and was that confronting in any way, Tobie?
Yes, we filmed it. Sandy, what was it? What was the place called?
It was a convent.
In Cape Town.
You know, yeah.
It was a beautiful building, very beautiful place. And we didn't see many of the inhabitants, but here and there I heard some noises from places, and they also had some mentally disturbed patients. They had various sections where they kept different people, and that was quite disturbing, but beautiful to see how well they were being cared for.
Right. Well, there was a film crew, remember? They would have to be on their best behavior.
Yes.
And I'll just tell the audience that the baddie in this film, you've got to see it just for her hairstyle, quite apart from she's a wonderful evil baddie who runs the aged care facility, and she just has the funniest hairstyle. I just laughed every time I saw her. And she was very much putting on a show, wasn't she? Whenever anybody came from the outside, she was presenting this very tight, rule-bound institutional facade. But in fact, when the daughters and the sons and the press all go home, anything can happen behind closed doors. Yeah.
Yes. I think there have been enough stories as well about what does often go on behind closed doors and what does happen, and that elderly people are not always treated very well. So,
Right.
yeah, but I think in this place, I can truly say the few people that I did meet there, and we met quite a lot of the staff. It's a convent, basically. They seem really good people, if I can put it like that.
No, I'm sure they,
I think they were looking after them pretty well.
I'm just being provocative.
They all seem pretty happy.
Right. No, I'm sure they are. One of the wonderful sort of comic elements of your gang, of the three of you, that I enjoyed so much was the secret sort of sign language thing that you had going on. For those who haven't seen the film, these three, they're always up to tricks, and they move around as this gang, and they've got this hilarious sign language. How did you develop that?
It was actually developed by the author, the writer of the books.
Okay.
Yeah. So I suppose we did elaborate on it slightly. Knowing Sandra, I know she would have elaborated it.
Hilarious. I also found, I mean, apart from the comedy, it's a very empowering story. It's a and do you think that there's reality in it? Do you think that an older person can genuinely find power in later life, Sandra?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I really think they can. I mean, it's proven to us over and over again. You know, you find extraordinary stories about people that are really quite old, you know, that just do marvelous things. Like, you know, they run marathons, they sail boats, they get up to all sorts of extraordinary things. And you think, well, how can anybody in their 90s still do that? But they do. So I think uh, it's quite possible. I can quite understand a revolution in an old age home. I've always said, over my dead body, will you stick me in an old age home? No, I won't have it. So I really understand that revolutionary spirit of the older person, you know, who feels that their power is being taken away from them, that they have no agency, that that they're being overlooked, and that they're being treated like children, you know, and not terribly intelligent children. So I can very much sympathize with that. So I think what Rudy's done here in his novels is he's chosen a very important subject, but also a very it's something that hits to the core, you know. If you start talking about old people and how they're being treated and how they're being regarded, and so for me, all that is very important and lovely stuff, of course, to use as comedy as well, because you don't expect somebody else, for instance, not that we use in the movie, but for instance, somebody of 90 to go rollerblading or ice skating or something, which people do, you know, and that's the marvelous thing about it. Is the spirit
I want to tell
of the human being. What?
Sorry, I want to tell you that I saw Sandra in Oudtshoorn at the festival, Kakanka, and their show was having some difficulties. And Sandra whispered in my ear, she thinks she must stop now. And then I saw the show and I just thought, no, there's no way you can stop now. Sandra herself is still so young and so vibrant. How long ago was it, Sandy, that you did? I think she did 4 one-person shows in the space of 2 months or something like that.
Wow.
Just to
Yeah.
memorize all those lines, you know, and to have the energy to go from A to Z. That's what I find difficult at the moment, is keeping the energy up for 2 hours.
But I'm
don't
sure
believe you
put
for
you in
one
front
second.
of yeah, neither do I. Put you in front of an audience, and I think you'll find the energy. Hey,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's also what happens afterwards is that, you know, you have to book into a hospital on a drip after the opening night.
No, I think it's very inspirational, and I think the film is inspirational, and it was inspirational for me as an actor to see the two of you absolutely in your power and bringing such charm to both of your roles. I was very moved by both. My favorite moment. I mean, well, I don't want to give anything away, Tobie, but you were very vulnerable in that role, and you really make us care about you. And there's a moment where something might happen to your character, and I was tearing up, definitely.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah. And
I
It's
so
agree
actually
with
very well written, I think. You know, the
Yeah.
structure of the story is very, very clever.
Oh, it's excellent. And I'm excited to hear that there may be more coming from these other books.
Yeah.
The other moment, apart from the one that's been mentioned, Sandra, that really moved me also as an actress myself, who I don't really work as an actor anymore. It's too hard.
That's a great pity. Great pity, Joanna.
I work more as a writer and a director now. but watching you up there as somebody, as an actress that I've admired my whole life. And then there was there's a beautiful fleeting moment where we see on the walls of your characters' rooms a glamorous photo of you as a slightly younger woman. And that went right into my heart as an
A
actor.
much younger woman, Joanna, a much younger woman.
It was an exquisite moment, and the way you played it was completely beautiful. And I really felt that. So I'm not sure if there's anything else you'd like to say. Yeah, sorry, Tobie, go on.
I just wanted to know, I never inspected her room very well. Was there a photograph of her as a stripper as well?
We'll have to watch the movie again. No spoilers. It was such a privilege for me to see the both of you and to see this exquisite, delicate film. Laugh out loud funny, but moving and actually very relevant. And thank you so much for sharing your time and telling us here about the film. And I wish you every success with your one-person shows and anything else that you might be turning your excellent hands to.
Thank you,
Joanna.
And
Lovely talking to you.